And welcome back to the hot stage. We are talking WRC 2027. I know, we're barely out of 25. We've just had the start of the season for 2026. But the FIA are teasing us ever so slightly with a potential 10 new teams for 2027. They've received 10 tenders, so to speak, for possible entries for next year. Okay, here we go. WRC fanatics have it. WRC set for a new era as a strong tuner interest emerges ahead of 2027. And also reporting, well, this was Rally 1 at the end of last year, which we're speaking about. But let's look at the main article, shall we? The FIA reveals at least 10 tuners. And I tell you what, stay tuned, because we are going to be having speculation about who those 10 tenders could possibly be. Maybe a tiny bit fantasy, but let's get into it. And we're trying to be realistic about the prospect of who these 10 are from 2027 onwards. And as you know, the forthcoming technical regulations are set to run supposedly for a decade. I say supposedly because remember when they bought the turbo hybrids in, then it didn't go the full length, did it? But I think these will, because they're aiming to reduce those costs, increase that flexibility for the teams in order to not only attract more manufacturers, but independent privateer teams. So hopefully come 2027 we're going to have more than 3 rally teams. Not that I don't like those rally teams, not that I don't like M Sport, Toyota, Hyundai, but cars are going to be subject to what is a €345,000 cost cap, and they're going to produce about 300 horsepower, feature space frame chassis. I appreciate that's controversial for some, but it will incorporate selected Rally 2 components. The rules will permit only ICEs, or internal combustion engines, although provisions are in plan to introduce alternative powers at a later stage within those 10 years. Can't imagine hydrogen fuel cell rally cars. And as we know, last month we had the Project Rally 1 car, which we announced with Yves Matten, her former Citroën WRC principal, Lionel Hansen, a rally engineer, again ex-Citroën. They know each other well, and they're looking at, putting in their own rally team. So we potentially have one runner. Now, is that one of the 10? Quite possibly. But at least 10 tuners have done it. Although existing Rally 1 teams, Hyundai and M Sport, they've yet to formally confirm their participation beyond what's going to be the current regulations. The FIA reports that the new technical framework has generated what they say an unprecedented interest just 12 months before its incarnation. They've said the FIA's priority is to accompany all the tuners and manufacturers that have already started to work on these projects. Said the FIA's Xavier Mestelin Pinon. Probably got that wrong again. Sorry. The tuner side is completely new for the FIA Rally to have a tuner homologate a car, and it is a massive success. We have a lot of contacts. More than 10. Whoa, more than 10. He says, I don't say all 10 will finalise the project, but they are working on how to do so. So there is a lot of work for us to accompany them. Also, our manufacturer, and also regarding the regulations, there are still some technical issues to finalise. It is a work in progress now to prepare for the 2027 season, and I think motorsport.com also breaking that story. But I digress. Why? Because now we are going to get 110% into what I like to call speculation. And as you can see here, here's the first one of our speculatives. Don't even think that's a word. But let's have a look at it. So the FIA says that at least these 10 tuners have already shown interest. That's not 10 rumours. That's not 10 fans hoping. The scope of this, that's 10 serious expressions of interest, quietly made behind closed doors. We have no idea who they are. Now, in a championship that's really struggled for manufacturer depth over the last few years, this could be the biggest turning point in the WRC has seen in decades. Is this the drive to survive moment in WRC that Formula 1 had, expanding, making rally great, popular? Okay, I want to go. Making rally popular again. Now, who could be these 10 runners? Why would they be interested? And what each one would realistically bring to the grid? So why tuners suddenly matter? Now, to understand what we're going to be looking at this list, we've got to understand one thing. 2027 is not designed for old school factory WRC teams. The new regulations aim, as we know, to slash costs, standardise those major components, reduce bespoke aero and electronics, allow multiple powertrain philosophies. As you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and that's what Rally are looking at, because these regulations are going to be in place for 10 years, and that doesn't just lower the entry barrier, it changes the WRC. This is no longer about who can spend the most to success. It's about who can build a smart and scalable rally program. And that's where these tuners come in. So, on that, we have the benchmark. As in, we have M Sport Ford at the moment. They're the obvious one. Why they're the obvious one? I know Toyota have pretty much said, but I'm starting with M Sport simply because if the FIA were to design what is a tuner-friendly World Rally Championship rulebook from scratch, it would be describing this team, the M Sport 40. As we know, they already run cars independently of Ford. The amount of times I've said, please Ford, help them out. They sell customer entries, Monster and Cesks, when you think about it. You know, they have to come up with the money. They develop rally machinery on what is quite a tight budget. And the balance, they have a balanced factory, expectations, and private funding. M Sport isn't interested in 2027. They are pretty much, in my opinion at least, the reference point. In fact, a lot of these new regulations feel like they were written for teams like M Sport in mind. If M Sport isn't part of the next era, then the whole tuner concept, I think, is going to absolutely collapse. But let's look at the next person, or team even. And that's going to be this bad boy, Toyota. So next up, they have confirmed for 2027. It does open a new door. Toyota Gazoo Racing already shown it's happy to support customer programs, WRC2, share technical platforms, use rally research and development rather than a pure marketing exercise for their cars. And a satellite, if there was a satellite Toyota team, maybe a B-spec Toyota team, independent management, Toyota engines and drivetrain, imagine that. GR branding without the full factory responsibility. That could mean multiple Toyota-backed tuners, not just the one team. Could it happen? I think absolutely it could. Moving on, yeah, these are the three obvious ones to Hyundai. Now they are, I think, out of the three current teams, the biggest question mark. Are they going to retreat? Are they going to reinvent? They sit currently, I think, at a crossroads. Okay, they've invested heavily in Rally 1. You think Rally, you think Hyundai. It's one of the, the big mates over the last few years. But corporate priorities, electrification strategies and motorsport have raised long-term questions in relation to Hyundai. The 27 regs offer them a lifeline if they want to stay in Rally. Less spending, less factory exposure, continued presence. The difficulty is Hyundai are going to be entering the World Endurance Championship, and there are rumours about them wanting maybe to enter Formula One in the medium-term future, let's say. But let's go back to Rally. Now, instead of a headline factory team, Hyundai could pivot to what is a technical supply, a powertrain partnership, branding support for a tuner-run squad, or many tuner-run squads. That keeps Hyundai in WRC without the pressure of them feeling or being all in, therefore saving them more money. So let's talk about these people here. VW, Volkswagen, the silent giant. So this is, I think, the elephant in the room. Volkswagen didn't leave WRC because of a lack of success. They left because of an external scandal, allegedly. Their rally infrastructure still exists. The engineers are still around, I believe. Their dominance is still remembered. Hello, Sebastian Loeb. But there's a key point. VW does not need to return as Volkswagen. Now, under these new 27 rules, again, we got the technical backing, platform sharing, a quiet involvement, if you will. This could come via a VW-backed independent tuner, a rebadged program, or through even Skoda or Cupra, but more on that in a second. VW gets the benefits with that minimal PR risk. Speaking of one of those teams, Skoda. If there's one brand that feels tailor-made for 2027, it's this. They're dominating. They've dominated in the past as well. Rally 2, unless you Solberg and a Toyota. They've thrived on customer racing. They understand the cost control and the cost control of success. A Skoda WRC entry wouldn't be about winning headlines. It would be about sustainable rallying. Skoda stepping up would also legit the tuner model instantly. And I think they're potentially one of the strongest candidates for next year. But another really strong candidate for next year is Stellantis. They are already here in WRC2. Yes, the Lancia has replaced the Citroen. But remember, the Stellantis history in the WRC is absolutely enormous. The tuner model solves that. Could we still have Citroen branding in the WRC? I think potentially we could. They could run independently. Potentially they could. Very much so. And I think, you know, there's every chance we could see a Lancia WRC 1 or Rally 1 eventually. But let's talk about Peugeot. Offers a similar upside. They have that iconic WRC past. Strong European identity. Youth-focused marketing. Neither brand needs a full factory return. When we look at Stellantis, Citroen, Peugeot, and Lancia is essentially, you know, in their WRC2 guys. But they could. They could. Next up, I guess you were waiting for this one. Subaru. Now, a year doesn't go by when we don't do a story, or there isn't a story in the WRC where Subaru says they're going to come back. Or at least there's a story. Oh, we're going to come back soon. And you might say it's one of the most emotional names on the list. Rally fans want it. The brand will benefit from it. The timing might finally be right. But this wouldn't be a pro-drive style comeback, I don't think. Instead, think again. We can have an independent tuner with Subaru branding, a strong US and Asia focus. There's going to be a United States rally potentially next year as well. Check out the video we did the other day. But if WRC is serious about their global growth, Subaru just makes sense, doesn't it? It absolutely does. So next up, we have the Cupra. Now, it is a young, aggressive and motorsport-hungry brand. They're in the touring cars. It doesn't carry legacy pressure. It'll be a new face. And it fits perfectly into what is a tuner-led WRC. This could be VW's smartest move if they want to get in or just dip their toes in. Yeah, why not? Use the Cupra. And let's talk about Alpine. Alpine wants to be seen, they are in Formula 1 at the moment, as lightweight, performance-driven and motorsport first. Rumours that they might be selling their squad. That happens all the time currently in Formula 1. But if they're going to do that, save a bit of money, go to Rally. I mean, they have an authentic performance credibility, European identity, and a stage F1 cannot provide. As a tuner-backed entry, Alpine becomes very realistic. But what about the others? ProDrive, for example. Remember, with Subaru fame. ProDrive returns, it could validate this entire concept. Then there's the idea of engineering houses, potentially as well. It's going to be interesting. So, will all 10 of these appear on the grid? Probably not, if I'm honest. It is a dream come true. Never say never. But even if half of these names would mark a new golden era in rallying, diversity, sustainability. Yes, that word that the FIA like and all these, bosses like. But the big thing, I think, for rally fans is competition. WRC 27 isn't about going backwards. It's about finally going wide. Worldwide. And there we go. If you made it to the end, please give us a subscribe. That'll be absolutely amazing. Can't even see the subscribe button. Let's hit it again, shall we? Let's hit it again. Oh, there it is. Yeah, give us a subscribe if you made it to the end. But until then, all I wanted to say is thank you very much for watching. You are amazing if you made it to the end. We are not worthy. Hit the like button because it really helps us. Comment below. Let us know. I do get to all the comments where I can. Absolutely, because the fact that you've decided to comment on one of our videos is absolutely amazing. You've taken your time to not only watch it, but put something in the comments. It means so much. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you very much. And we'll speak to you soon. Stay safe, but above all else, stay sideways.